Welcome to an Alternate Hue. I'm Hugh Anderson, and this is what caught my attention recently. The most famous smile in the world was briefly obscured last week when a man smeared some cream cake over the Mona Lisa in what seems to have been a climate protest. Apparently, the cake terrorist doesn't care for Mona Lisa's frosty smile during a climate warming cycle. The 16th century masterpiece by Leonardo da Vinci was protected behind bullet and cake-proof glass. It obviously wasn't a fruitcake he threw. The man disguised himself as an elderly lady in a wheelchair in order to gain an access to the top spot right in front of the painting reserved for the handicapped. Then he stood up and smeared the cream cake all over the glass case that protects the painting. What will they think of next? Well, Richard Bernstein was the chief investment strategist for Merrill Lynch for many, many years, and he's considered one of the best. In his most recent newsletter, Rich reminds us that bear markets always, and I repeat always, signal a leadership change within the overall equity market. The leadership going on into a bear market is rarely, if ever, the leadership coming out. Now, the investment world is turning the page and moving on. That's why bear markets are great. They present enormous opportunity for those who can maintain their perspective. Bernstein goes on to say that bear markets occur when the economy structurally changes. Leadership before a bear market is typically geared to the economy in place, but leadership shifts as the economy shifts. History clearly shows it's unrealistic to expect one segment of the equity market to be appropriate for every economic scenario. However, despite historical precedent, investors are typically hesitant to reposition their portfolios when the economy changes. They tend to cling to the old leadership, hoping those stocks' underperformance is only temporary and the economy and the markets will soon revert back to where they were. So if your favorite stock is selling for 20 or 30 or 40% off, it must be a bargain, right? Well, this year's volatility seems to reflect a significant shift in the economy. Anyone hear about inflation lately? Supply shortages? Geopolitical conflict, which is a fancy term for countries that used to tolerate each other, now are openly hostile. So what does all that mean? Take a look. The old leadership, which is now significantly underperforming, was geared to secular disinflation and lower long-term interest rates. The performance of equity themes like technology, innovation, disruption, and the like required lower long-term interest rates. Their outperformance reached true extremes when the Federal Reserve forced interest rates lower. Bottom line, the economy is constantly changing and evolving, and it's natural for investors to want their old winners to come back. But by not recognizing the change in the investment climate, investors have cost themselves about 25% so far this year. Last year's story isn't going to be next year's. So in the immortal words of Bob Seger, it's time to turn the page. So remember the Got Milk ad campaign? Lots of fun, wasn't it? It became ubiquitous in pop culture. Well, so is hacking your computers, phones, bank accounts, and everything else in your digital world. I encourage you to pause the video when I show you the next graphic and study it. Your cute passwords no longer cut it. You might as well tattoo your social security number on your forehead. So take a look, a long look. I'll wait. So notice the gray column that shows how many characters are in various passwords, and then along the horizontal top, you'll see whether you have numbers only, lowercase letters, and a combination of everything. Notice what the various combinations are where the hackers can instantly get at your stuff. I would submit that it's time to take a hard look at what passwords you use. Scary stuff. But there is a trick to trick the tricksters, and it's called a password manager. There are several reputable tools on the market. Most offer free or exceptionally cheap subscriptions. I'd recommend the paid versions. Ask any of your friends who've been hacked. I think this is the best reason to forward this edition of an Alternate Hue to your friends and loved ones. The bad guys are working 24/7. Let's not make it easy on them. So that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. But again, that last segment was really serious. Start taking your passwords seriously as well. Stay well, stay prosperous, and I'll see you next time.